What's up, twin flame lovers? All right, so I am excited to get started, but let's go ahead and open up our slides. 7 Divine Feminine Sacred Sexuality Power Tools. Hi, I'm Dr. Amanda Noel, and you are here because we've grown up in a world that is just a little too, let's say, funny or patriarchal or anti-pleasure or anti-sacred or maybe even little anti us becoming sovereign whole beings who can move beyond the 3D matrix. So I'm here if you are on a path of divine feminine awakening, twin flame awakening, sacred sexuality awakening, and you're ready to break through to the next level. So I have some really beautiful tools that have helped myself, that continue to help me, as well as my partner and my clients, to grow and to ascend and to move through even those heavy places. So before we start, I'll just say I read an article lately, somewhere something was saying that the yogic path, or the path of the priestess, or the path of the ascendee, is not so much about fixing things, healing your health issue or your bank account issue or your love relationship blocks or whatnot, which, we all have some things that we're working on. And good morning from Bali, by the way. I'll just take myself on camera because some of you have said, like, we want to see your face more often. Where have you been? Hiding behind the slides. So I just love the slides. My creative artistic side has come out through some of the slides. I don't do all the slides, but I do really love putting together collages, if you can't tell. So what I wanted to share is that well, okay, I'll be honest and say that I have a lot of energy channeling through, as well as a lot of structure that I want to share. So I might need to stick to the slides at first to keep my ADHD at bay, because I feel a lot of energy brewing and bubbling in. And for me anyways, my divine feminine awakening path has come as a form of self-acceptance. And I came out of a very linear, logical world, like my family, they're all really good at succeeding in the 3D matrix. For me, it was like, I don't love this. This is really hard for me, but I still went and achieved and thought I would become some kind of, people would love me. And it's funny, the opposite thing has been what has been required for me to be on the ascension path, to be in a healthy relationship, to be happy, is I've had to love the places that are messy as balls, that are uncomfortable, that are ugly, that are hairy, that are hidden, that are shadow. And so as we go through these 7 divine feminine sacred sexuality power tools, it's not about achieving something. It's not about the yogic path of fixing a problem and going somewhere with an intention. That's the masculine energy. That's beautiful too. You can have that intention, but it ain't always going to work out. So the divine feminine path and approach to sacred sexuality, before we even dive into these slides, I just want to share, is that it's really about exploring the unknown. It's about loving all of it, no matter what comes up. It requires us to be brave and bold. And we don't know what layers of hidden turmoil or trauma or treasure and pleasure might be under there, down there, in there, out there, everywhere. And so it takes the strength, the courage, the confidence in ourselves to be as bold as to go where no man or no woman has gone before. So thank you for being on this path. All right, let's dive in with some slides. Sacred sexuality power tools to activate your pleasure, your feminine energy, your twin flame relationship. These are designed more for women, but if you are identifying as a man, whatever works for you, you can adapt some inspiration and look up online. I might be sharing some tools that require you to have a vag, but you can find different tools that work for your body, your mood, your energy. So these are just anchors for inspiration. And who I am, I'm Amanda, Dr. Amanda Noel. I decided I wanted to keep the doctor years ago because I had failed out of Duke University's pre-med program. And part of it was I just really wanted to be a shamanic healer. And I liked At the time when I created my brand about 10 years ago when I launched my Blissness, I liked taking the divine feminine seriously and saying we deserve to be doctors too. We deserve to be PhDs, to have our doctorates, to... My doctorate is actually in transpersonal counseling and metaphysics, and so I'm not a medical doctor. There is no medical advice that's going to be given here. So work with your practitioner, yada, yada, yada. And at the same time, we deserve a voice. We deserve to, whoever wants to have a voice, you get to just get on YouTube and shout it out to the world. And just because you have a masculine degree that's based on the last couple thousand years of patriarchal academia doesn't mean that you know better than someone else. I almost died in the medical system. That's part of why I didn't do so well in the medical world. Is I was put on so many antibiotics and so many prescription meds that after a botched surgery, I had these migraines, a botched wisdom tooth removal. That honestly, we need to start being more open to respecting the divine feminine because no one's perfect. We can't worship some system that hasn't really been working so well. We got to be willing to be bold and brave. So for some reason, when I saw my face and my name, I'm like, there's me with the dragon. I'm a very tender, very vulnerable, very sensitive person. I've moved through a lot of fear of persecution and death and anxiety around that because of my past lives. And people still slander and do videos against people like myself, including myself, who are here to just speak the voice of the feminine, say take it or leave it. So whatever I share in this video, try it on for size if it feels good to you, and just be respectful, be loving towards yourself and towards myself, because I'm a mirror of you. And just sending love to all the people that I Googled my name the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, someone's like slandering me. I'm not even going to watch that video, but probably they don't even know me. They haven't probably worked with me. And, to each of everyone's own, but I feel like anybody who slanders and says hurtful things probably just needs to take responsibility for themselves. And yeah. All right. So would you like to learn to apply these ancient sacred feminine tools that can bring harmony and healing and empowerment to your divine feminine energy and to yourself? There's a really loud bird out there. I don't know what that is. I live in Bali and there's always like fun birds. So women have been suppressing their sacred sexuality, giving it away. And sorry if some of these slides have been repetitive. I'm just going to give new layers each time. I can't remember if we have some of these slides from the past. But so what's interesting to me is that women have been silently suffering together. Like so many women have, like a generation or two ago, were silently suffering with rape trauma and not talking about it. I see that that's changed a lot. I feel like a lot of women are speaking up, speaking out. They're sharing with their sisters. It's like really, really common now for someone to say, yeah, I was sexually abused. I hear it all the time with my clients, maybe because I work with really high level women that are willing to go deep in themselves and share. But I know 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it wasn't as common for women of all backgrounds to say, hey, this happened to me, or this experience happened to me in university. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of pain and suffering that's been under the ancestral covers for so many generations, and I feel like it's finally coming out, and women are still competing against each other. We're still going after the alpha male, the old paradigm, and sort of like letting players, even in the conscious new age community, there can be like this catty energy. I don't know if that's happened to you, where you felt pinned against another woman because there's a guy that's choosing between you, and it's this old patriarchal, I don't know, past life marital system thing that just, like, it's time to come together and win together. And I think more and more of us are doing this, and it's been really awesome. The moment before I got married, the moment before my husband and I got together, I actually talked to his ex. I bumped into her at a party, and we gave each other like deep soul sister eye gazes, and I see you. And like, I felt her pain, and I felt like she was the woman that I was the woman that she was. And it was so beautiful. And I think that's what we need more of. All right, so 7 sacred sexuality power tools to activate your pleasure and your womb wisdom. And I have been using these full throttle, especially as I've been shrinking a small cyst in my ovary. And it's been really interesting working with healers here, like people that didn't even know what was going on. The healers were like, okay, you have some black magic in there. I'm like, you think? I have been working on some attacks from some really high level beings for this lifetime. It's been really awesome, really fun, but I keep moving the energy and I keep surviving and thriving. So sending love to all of you and my request for your thoughts and prayers as I heal this from my body, sending so much love to anybody who is working the womb energy as we're doing this together, my sister. So moon cycle tracking, I've talked about this a lot, and I have to say it's been so important for me. And the number one reason is because when I know my moon cycle, I can honor not just my mood, but my energy. And this is huge if you are, especially a female entrepreneur who can pace yourself or lose track of pacing yourself, and how much workload to assign yourself and how much to do at different times of the month. So for me, I have gone from pushing through in a masculine way, just trying to go, to creating a lifestyle where I don't know if I work the 4-hour work week, because I do find myself falling in love with work, and I have to cut myself off from not going too much into it. Mainly my body does not like computer screens, and it's a tricky thing because I work online a big part of my day and I love what I do. So the moon cycle, when I track it, I know that I have to limit around my period, especially a little bit before for me, and sometimes actually during ovulation too. I just have to pay attention to my moon. I track it on Clue app. If you have not already gotten an app to track your moon cycle, if you're still a bleeder, if you are watching this, definitely do it. And also you can track the moon itself, the full moon cycle, the new moon cycle. So the full moon is like the egg releasing, and the new moon is like the bleed. Wait, did I get that reversed? Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain freeze. Because I'm reversed a lot of the time, where I'll bleed during the opposite. So, but I think of it that way. So you can look at it for yourself. Find your own cycle sync. But usually, yeah, we shed the lining of the uterus when we're releasing, and that is more during the bleed, and then we're planting the seed and conceiving during ovulation. So I think I said it right that way. So new moon is conception. All right, ovulation. Okay. Whew, it is hot today. I'm feeling it. So do you have a moon cycle track? Because understanding your moon cycles is a key to nurturing your feminine energy, so that you can hold this space in your body to have the surplus of energy, to have these multiple orgasms, to have kundalini rising, to ground it into our body. We can still have these experiences, but it won't be grounded into the body in the same way if we're not sustaining our energy, and moon cycle tracking is huge. So make sure to join circles on the full and new moons. At least do ceremony for yourself. So I use Clue, and it's so simple, super helpful. And I also use MoonX, which is a wonderful app that shows you where the Earth's lunar energies are flowing. And I check it every day. It's got really awesome features such as tarot card pulling. I'm not getting any affiliate commission on this. It lets you know exactly where the moon cycle is. I don't know if you can see in here, but it's just really super awesome. So I did not do that right. Anyways, let's keep going, because I got some juicy tips coming up. So moon cycle tracking, track it, baby, track it up. Also Yoni womb massage. So I haven't talked so much about this, but so there's the womb on the outside massage, and there's the womb on the inside massage. And I consider womb, Yoni, is like the whole reproductive system, including massage, or including ovaries, vagina, whole reproductive system. Of course, then the glands are connected to it. But so yeah, ideally full body massage, but really honing in on the yoni. The yoni in Sanskrit is vagina or temple, womb. We don't even have a word in the West. That's why I say womb. That encompasses all of the parts. But if you can have a practice, ideally you have like a certified Mayan massage. We've lost this healing art in the West. It's like pretty sad that we just like slice out hysterectomy style. We take out the womb before we do any preventative care. But obviously bringing gentle blood flow to our bodies and allowing water to flow, the lymph system, getting massage is wonderful. And then if you have a trusted partner healer that you trust to massage you, and that that they're very intuitive, they have experience, they know what they're doing, you can really surrender into this process. And it's also an opportunity to notice where you might have any resistance, where you have any old traumas or triggers, and to hold space for the resistance, to let it come up, to speak to your partner. My husband actually used to have triggers because he was both circumcised and he also had a hemorrhage. I forget what it's called, a hernia. He had a hernia, and when he was 10, he went to the hospital, and they went in and did a surgery on him, and it was very traumatic, and it was right in his groin area. And so he didn't know why, but every time I would touch his crotch area, he'd get like angry and flinchy and really also ticklish, and he'd start laughing. And then I asked him what came up for him, and he was like, right before they put the gas on, I started laughing hilarious when the woman told me that I was going to be, going this surgery. She explained it, and it was so much for him that he started giggling. And then he woke up and the whole thing was over, but he's like, oh my gosh, I think I was so scared that I started to laugh and I shut down, and that's why I'm giggling and I'm sensitive and ticklish. And so what I did is because I have a background as a healer and a practitioner of touch as a reverend, and also I was a esthetician, so I did a lot of massage, but not in this area. But I'm an intuitive person, and maybe you feel the same way, where you can touch. I would touch him very gently. So I'm going to give you this tip. See if I can get the big camera. I don't know if I can, but here we go. I'm still learning how to do this software, but I want you to see. So say this is his crotch area. So if I did this, he would just like laugh and also be really angry. He'd be like, get away from my body. And so what I would do is I played a game with him, and I use this intuitive game. So if you have sexual trauma, if you have, or even just like sensitivity, or you feel like you can't feel stuff in your body, you can do womb yoni massage with your partner. And this is an amazing exercise. So if I started to drag like this, I told him, tell me any time to stop, and I will stop. And then he said, stop. And so I would stop, and I would hold it there. And then I would say, how sensitive is this on a scale of 1 to 10? And he would tell me how sensitive that was. We would play a game, and then I would press harder, and I'd say, how sensitive is it? And it would almost like hurt, like it's not ticklish anymore. And he would say, oh, thank God, it's not sensitive. It's like a 2. And I said, okay. And so then I would keep dragging with that level of pressure. And I would say, okay, how sensitive is it? Be like, it's still a 2, it's still a 2. Okay, in this area, it's a 4. So I'd press deeper. So you can do things like that, of pressing deeper where it might be really sensitive and not in a good way. So I feel that as well sometimes when we're doing a yoni massage. Sometimes I'll be like, I just want you to get away from my body. I'm feeling so sensitive. And then I'll just ask him. I'll say, like, can you move your hands out a foot away from my body and touch me there? Like, energetically. The point is, a couple of points. 1, let the person who's receiving the massage have the dom, the voice, the expression, And the person who's massaging is totally listening and serving. They're not forcing anything. And they're letting that person build trust in the touch, build trust in their ability to say yes or no, build trust in their ability to feel and heal their own body. And it becomes so powerful. So in the end, what happened, my husband has like no problem with me touching his crotch, which is really great, because before we could make love, but when it came to like stroking in certain areas, he would just want to like punch me in the face, and he didn't know why. But through our tantric practices together, he found out, oh, it's from this medical trauma. A lot of people have medical trauma. A lot of people have experiences from their childhoods that cause them to shut down. So that's where our sacred sexuality temple is like a template where we can heal our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our relationships together. All right. So Yoni massage connects us to our own pleasure, our kundalini, energy, bliss, and we can go places that no man or woman has ever gone before. I just like the play on words with the moonwalk. So no woman, no man, doesn't matter. A gentle abdominal massage, so the whole from the very top of your pubic bone to the top of your rib cage, can soothe, heal, and activate and the reproductive energy and organs. And there's also, our digestive organs. So you can place, if you use coconut oil or warming oils, if you tend to run on the cool side, like sesame or sunflower, and you can put some, if you know what you're doing with essential oils, always consult your practitioner, for like massage, your doctor. But what I do, anyways, I can just share what I do, is I will just put oil on myself, and I will do, I guess this is called clockwise. And it's going from like your right side up and over to the left side, and listening and feeling for what feels good. So little circles and just noticing inside there. This is great too, because if you ever feel any ongoing pain, you might become more aware of it. We're so disconnected with our bodies. We're not taught to massage ourselves. We're taught to not touch ourselves, that we actually become disempowered, and then we give all the power to like the Cancer Society, and it becomes this weird thing. So healer, heal thyself. So we have almost like this medical industry that's like, you can't even teach massage unless you're making this complicated thing. But I honestly believe that if you use your own intuition, this is what I believe for me, you can listen to it yourself. I'm not a professional practitioner at massage anymore. I love to touch people, and I was allowed to touch people's faces, hands, and feet, and I found out it was very healing. So, obviously use your own discernment, but dude, I feel so good massaging myself. I feel so good partnering up with my beloved and massaging. We've gone through so much deep healing. So I think if people massage for 15 minutes a day, every day, or even 5 minutes a day, or even a minute a day, they'll see some results in their lives. All right, now let's talk about yoni eggs. I left my yoni egg on the altar after it's been cleansed, but I have a yoni egg that's a rose quartz and probably about that size if you were to proportionally look at it. And rose quartz is really anti-inflammatory, healing, powerful feminine grounding energy, but you can use all kinds of stones. Just make sure that they've been intentionally cleansed and carved for yoni egg usage. So these crystal eggs are used for pelvic floor exercises. It's an ancient tradition that comes, I think, from China, but we don't really know because history was erased. Probably they used them back in ancient Middle Eastern practices as well, but we don't know. So these crystal eggs strengthen your pelvic floor, increase the health, sensitivity, and pleasure during sex, and create a sense of grounding and connection. And what I've noticed is that because there's this connection that I have to my body, to my yoni, to my pelvic floor, that when I'm lovemaking, I can't help but like squeeze my husband. It's like this, like I want to suck him in. I want to like give him the full experience. My yoni becomes alive. So there's a lot that you can learn. There are a lot of yoni courses. It's getting hot in here. There are a lot of things that you can study, and different opinions out there. Some people believe you need to have vaginal weight. Some people believe that just a little tiny stone is enough to like really create the intention of sensation and pleasure, and that you don't need weight. So you can listen to your own ideas and thoughts. There's also other devices similar to yoni eggs, like the Gynoflex, which is like they also have one called the Kegel Master 2000 or something. I've used a little bit of everything, and the main thing is that you practice regularly and find what feels right for you. So some kind of yoni exercise, and I think it's great to do it while you're at a new moon gathering, or at least bring your yoni egg and put it on the altar, new moon or full moon. Bring that energy into your moon cycles as well. So moon rituals I feel are so important for activating the divine feminine sexuality. And the reason is our kundalini is the same energy as lunar cycles. If you look at the sun, the energy is linear, it's light. The energy of the feminine it's up and down. It can balance, it wants to go to the light, and then it's like, well, that's too much. So it's wave. It's oscillating, it's moving in this undulating, watery wave-like form. The masculine is fire and light, linear logic. So moon rituals are the space to cultivate our own connection and connect to the moon. It's also a space to connect to other women. Women in traditional societies will gather with sisters oftentimes and will utilize divine feminine healing tools like sound healing, sound and voice alchemy, flower magic, cacao ceremony magic, using different herbs and rituals to alchemize the old energies at the full moon and to call in new energies at the new moon to plant those seeds. For me, the reason I put moon rituals in here around sacred sexuality is because we live in a patriarchal, we're falling out of the patriarchy. And to connect to the feminine energy, we want to come back to these ancient memories, the times where we would gather. Think about it. If you lived as a tribe out in the dark, there's no electricity, you would need to gather at the full moon. It was like this celebration in the evening. There was one rare moment in the month where you could see in the night sky. And the men would go out hunting at the full moon. And the woman would be there to sit by the fire and tell stories and gather and do rituals. And then in the darkness of the blackness of the new moon, there was also the gathering, the space, the quiet, and this magical element. So the moon was worshipped around the world. It was a very important part of their life. It was very mysterious, and it controlled the tide. It controls the tides. So we've gotten distracted because of our technology. We're on our screens. We have electricity. But when we shuttle those things down a little bit, or we take our attention towards these primal deities, or you could call it these primal energies that are represented by the lunar body, the earth's energy. And we identify that in ourselves through rituals, and we feel the moon energy in ourselves. We honor Lady Luna in ourselves, our sisters, our brothers too, who like to work with lunar energy. And men, actually, it's really popular to come to full moon and new moon circles. I live in Ubud, and everybody goes to ceremonies. It's beautiful. But I have to say, I'm opposed. I love gathering in sister ceremony with other women. It's just so nourishing to my soul. And we live in a man's world where everything's been painted navy blue, and the corporate world is all, like masculine colors. And now, there might be some businesses that rock pink pretty soon. Not so much. The banking systems are still in the old vibes. But what about having a space for moon magic, for your divine feminine energy to come together with other women? So if you haven't already joined us, we have on the 5th/6th, or I think it's the 6th here in Bali, so the 5th in the US, we're gathering for a full moon ritual in just a couple more days, and you can join. They are very affordable, very packed with lots of healing, love, attention, tips, astrology. The benefit of coming is it's intended towards women calling in their life partner or upgrading their twin flame union. It's to activate self-love, twin flame love, and really deeply nourish the feminine energy. So click the link below, or you can go to aphroditeuniversity.org/full-moon. And the coupon code, if you want to save 50% off, which you probably do, is 777-PORTAL, PORTAL. And if you've been following me on YouTube for a while and you've been getting a lot out of the video content that I share, I really thank you. And I think that's awesome that you're along for the ride with us. And there's nothing like getting together in a live space for a long period of time, like an hour and 15 minutes is what we usually do. And we really intend and have ceremony where we're doing it together coactively. So honoring the cycles of the moon will help you to connect with the energy of the Kundalini, which is the left and right channels, the up and the down, the yin and the yang. And it's the macrocosmic, not just in your body moving the Kundalini, but you're moving it with the moon, which is over a month-long cycle. So it's sort of like you're going this way with the calendar. It's like, oh, new moon, full moon, new moon, full moon. But in your chakras, you're going up and down, back and forth. So that's why we need to get together and start to build temples in person and dance around the freaking moon. And I hope we can do that soon. Maybe that's already happening. And so, yeah, beautiful, beautiful energies that are here to bless us for healing and transformation. So yeah, if you want to join us, here's a slide just about the Lunar Love membership. It's put together by myself and my team at Aphrodite University over the last 10 years. We launched in 2012, around the 2012 shift, and here we are a decade later. And honestly, I would love more women to support and show up. I've put not 50,000 videos, but I put like hundreds and hundreds of videos out and so much content. I'm like, the best work that I do is not here on YouTube. It's really hard for me to do that. I do channeling and sound healing, alchemy, rhyming. It's kind of like beatboxing a little bit in there. No, but my creative energy comes out so much on the full and new moon. So join us live for the cacao ceremony, and you'll get a recipe so you can make it beforehand out of rose, cacao, and a couple of simple ingredients available at your local health food store. And you get all this great stuff, as I said. All right, so herbal remedies. I have to share that I healed HPV with an herb I'm going to talk about, but herbal remedies are so important for the priestess who wants to hit the 7-figure orgasm, the 7 chakras, 7-figure orgasm. And I do believe the reason it's important to activate our Kundalini and heal the planet is also to break free from the old slavery systems, including the money slavery system. I don't necessarily even care that much about money. I like to be safe and practical and grounded. I'm not someone that's obsessed with money. For a while I was like, oh my god, I hit 6 figures when I was in my 30s, and I love having a multiple 6-figure business. Haven't hit 7 figures yet, and I'm open to that, and if I do, I'm going to give back massively, and I really don't care about the money that much for myself. I'm a hippie girl that just, as long as they have my basic needs met. I like luxury too, and I can go either way. I can camp if I get the chance. So, but one of the things that's the most rich, luxurious way to live is to live with herbs as a basic part of your life. I just finished a couple different herbs, but one of them is turmeric, white turmeric tea that's specifically healing what I've got going on in my body. So I'm going to talk about natural herbs such as red raspberry leaf, nettles, angelica, things that can be used to strengthen your feminine energy, the menstrual cycle, ease cramps, fertility, PMS symptoms, but also just overall sexual energy, life force. So these have a lot of minerals. Raspberry leaf is chock full of minerals. Nettles is so great because it pulls out toxins and allergens. If you suffer from allergies, stinging nettles saved me in California. I would get allergy season was just like this thing. So a cup of nettle tea every day was super, super great. So again, I'm not a guru on herbs. It's just something that I've learned for myself of what what's been on my journey. So I'm going to share some of my favorite ones to boost libido and feminine energy. So one is maca, and you've probably heard of maca, the Peruvian herb. It's known to boost libido and improve sexual function. A lot of people will throw maca into their smoothies with a little bit of cacao, some spices, maybe coconut milk, banana, so many different ways to make it taste yummy. It's basically a root like a sweet potato, and it's great for boosting libido. Now, I did have an acupuncturist that was like, maca for you might be a little too warming. So again, consult your herbalist, acupuncturist, or whoever you work with for her medical needs. But ashwagandha, an Indian herb to reduce stress, it boosts libido because of stress and anxiety being two of the biggest culprits. It's just generally a super nourishing herb that can calm us down. Red clover grows here in Bali all over the place because they use red clovers in offerings, and they fall everywhere, and then they grow little plants. This herb is so magical. Sometimes they're pink, sometimes they're purple, but red clover is rich in phytoestrogens and is known to improve your female reproductive health, your libido. And damiana, you've probably heard of. It's very calming too. The herb is native to Mexico, Central America. It's known to boost sexual desire, overall sexual well-being. Ginseng is great for it's been used for centuries to boost libido, improve energy. Again, each herb is going to work differently in different people, so start really small, work with your practitioner, experiment. If you start to feel strange after about 10 minutes to an hour, then you know you've overdone the dose kind of thing. So that's the way I work anyways, is I will listen intuitively and maybe not integrate a lot of herbs at once, just maybe try something a little bit at a time and then increase the dose. Because I know I used to be really extreme and be like, let me pack in all the things I can do. So I wanted to share my story about mugwort because it's, I think, really significant on a couple levels. One is we don't even need to ingest an herb. We don't even need to like put it in our body to heal. So I felt like a turning point in my HPV. I had 6 weeks to heal HPV. I said, hey, doctor, even though you've just diagnosed me with the scary kind of HPV, human papillomalia, whatever, papillomalia virus, I don't even want to remember it, but I had the scary kind where they're like, we're going to have to scrape your cervix and surgery, you know. I didn't want that. I didn't have insurance at the time, and it was a lot of money, and I didn't have a job. I was going through school, and it was like, this is the worst root chakra activation. I don't want this. So I said, please, can I just have 6 weeks to clear this naturally? And I was in my psychic studies program, and I was meditating every day for a couple hours a day. So I went on a hike, and I saw this patch of mugwort, which had just been taught to me a couple weeks prior. And one of the keys here is synchronicity, because the woman who taught the mugwort, she taught an herbal class, was recommended to me from my early childhood friend as well as my acupuncturist, and they were not connected. And I lived in a busy city. The Bay Area has like millions of people, 10 million, I don't know. But it was such a cool synchronicity. And also the healer spoke Italian, and I spoke Italian, and like not many people speak Italian like in the world outside of Italy. So anyways, I was like, wow, like I just learned about mugwort, and I happened to see it right here on this trail, and there's this big bush of mugwort, and I knew it was good for healing the womb. It was also good for putting a piece into your pillow and sleeping. And I said, oh my gosh, I've just been diagnosed with this like horrible disease, and I don't want it, and I want to clear it. So I also had just learned this tool about releasing energy. So I grabbed the energy of the mugwort, a whole bush. I didn't take anything from the earth. I didn't pull anything out. I just said, mugwort, heal my womb, heal me from this. And I just let the mugwort just take the darkness that I was carrying and just heal it. And I just released it. And I literally felt like a gust of energy like coming out of my womb. It was really weird. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I healed it. And then I took a little piece, and I made an offering. I said, thank you. Please please let me take this piece. Is it okay? And I put it under my pillow. I slept. And what it does is it helps you remember your dreams. And I had a healing dream. I actually don't even remember what the dream was anymore, but I had a healing dream and it was like, okay, I think this is good. So mugwort was really special for me. Maybe you'll find a different a different herb. Maybe it'll have a sexier name than mugwort. But it's recommended for women due to its potential benefits for menstrual cramps. People drink it as tea for irregular periods, menopausal symptoms. It's good to have. It's believed to have a calming and relaxing effect on the body and mind. And a couple of ways to use mugwort is good to brew one is to brew it into tea by steeping 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried mugwort in hot water for about 10 minutes. It can also be taken as a tincture or used as a supplement in capsule form. So it can have side effects, and again, everything needs to be used. It's under professional guidance. It's not recommended for pregnant women. It can stimulate contractions and cause miscarriage. I know people will do it at the end of their pregnancy when they're wanting the baby to come out. And it can also interact with certain medications. So this is a good example as to why we need to work with our herbal practitioners, which is really sad that they killed most of the healers, the midwives off like a couple hundred years ago in those nice crucifixion days. But anyways, I digress. So I'm just going to give you a quick favorite tea of mine, and it hopefully will just inspire you, and you can channel your own tea recipes if you like to do intuitive herbal teas. 7 ingredients. 1 is 2 parts raspberry leaf, rich in those minerals. 1 part nettle leaf, great for detoxification, also rich in minerals, great for the teeth. 1 part red clover flower for the hormone balance. 1 part dandelion root, which is good for calming and soothing and clearing the liver, and also very heavy in minerals, good for bleeding. 1 part mugwort leaf, which tonifies the womb. 1 part ginger root. You could also do white turmeric, and 1 part rose petals. And you brew this in a nice, beautiful pot, and you do it in a sacred way, mixing together to ensure they're equally distributed. And then you can take 1 to 2 tablespoons of the herb mixture, put it into a teapot, and you put a cup of, I would say not boiling water, but like after bring it to a boil, let it cool for like a couple of seconds. I don't like pouring boiling water on herbs. And let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes to make it strong, and then you can strain it, put it in with some stevia or honey or whatever you use to sweeten your teas, monk fruit. Drink 1 to 2 cups of womb tea per day. And I think just ceremonial womb tea drinking is just so special. And again, all the disclaimers that I keep saying. And then I'm going to share the last 2 things which have personally touched me in my sacred sexuality path. 1 is ecstatic dance, and I ecstatically dance at least once, if not twice a week in a group. I'll do it at home oftentimes to music. I'll just put on a song and do a dance. But really getting together at an official ecstatic dance or contact improv dance, what it is an intuitive dance where there's usually someone that is playing DJ or they're playing music for you, so you don't have to think about a thing. You just show up and you dance your dance. It encourages free movement, improv, and self-expression. It also helps you set healthy boundaries. It's a practice. It's accompanied by sometimes guidance and support. Other times it's just music, but it will help put you through different emotional and energetic states. Some of the states are ecstatic and some of them are really heavy. Sometimes they'll play a song where you're like, oh my God, I hate this song. I feel stuck. I feel like I want to get out of here. I feel like I want to kill the DJ. And you're meant to feel all of it. It's part of a moving meditation. In addition, ecstatic dance can help women feel more connected to their bodies, ground their sacred yes, ground their sacred no, enhance their sensuality, be open to receiving pleasure and connection from other people, whether it's a gaze, whether it's dancing with other people, maybe even just dancing with their hands. Sometimes I'll have like contact improv will just be like very, very not superficial, but it will be out here. It won't be, lots of the lifts and the twirls and the flips and there's all kinds of like acrobatic movements that you can do, and I do those with various people. because it feels good. And sometimes I totally just need to dance by myself. And whatever you want to do, it's an opportunity to open up to the wisdom and guidance of your body, your yes, your no. You can access greater levels of intuition, of creativity, and you can deepen your connection to the divine feminine. And it's a just overall transformative, empowering practice that's helped me to connect with my true self, to find my own unique path, to just find my ecstasy without having to please anyone, but also being witnessed and seen in it, not being alone, not being a hermit. Although you can just go inwards too. It's this beautiful thing of community and also autonomy. I have found that I have discovered a greater sense of joy and purpose in my life, and where I found my ultimate soulmate, my twin flame, was on the Ecstatic dance floor in Oakland, California. And I think that there's no coincidence that that happened. It's just one of my happiest places in the world. So it can help you connect with your Kundalini. I've had Kundalini awakenings. I had an orgasmic dance. Many times I've had beautiful, blissful, ecstatic experiences, but one time I actually had an orgasm that was in my auric field, and I felt my energy body as if it was like a vagina. Like it was like a big clitoris. It was really intense, amazing, and light at the same time. And I honestly feel like we reawaken our priestess energy. We find our true selves when we're out of our own way. And sometimes if we're sitting still on a mat, that's like a more stillness exercise. It takes a lot of discipline. And a more feminine way of meditating is through dance and getting lost in the chaos and getting lost in the music and surrendering and letting our own energy move us. So it's a very, it's a feminine and masculine thing. You're letting your movement show you where to go, and you're listening to it, and then you're honoring it. And there's just so much I've learned out of it. It's just incredible. So when my clients come to Bali, I'll often take them to ecstatic dances or we'll dance with them. The space is really important. I remember coming to Bali 15 years ago, and I was like, oh, there's no ecstatic dance. And I was like, I'm going to change that. And I ended up bringing 2 friends here, and they opened up the ecstatic dance at a place called Yoga Barn. And within a month, it was like completely full. And now they have like 300 people dancing every Sunday, and a couple other days a week as well. So it's really popular. It's growing. If you have not tried it, do it. If you love it, do it. Keep doing it. Keep doing more and go deeper into the dance. So come and join me this full moon. It's happening really soon on the 5th. This full moon rose cacao ceremony is going to be really special. I'm looking forward to diving deep into Kundalini energy waves, and I'll be doing a channeling on how to access your Kundalini. So click the link below, go to aphroditeuniversity.org/full moon. And the last tip before we close, orgasmic meditation, oming. It's kind of funny because we have a neighbor, her name's Oming, and she's 2.5, and we're like, not that kind of oming, but oming. Maybe you know of Nicole Dedone and her orgasmic meditation. There's so many different ways to meditate with orgasm, but she's one of the founding pioneers, and they have, or at least they used to have, a huge office that was like very, very, very flashy and fancy, and I think it was over $10,000 to rent, next to Twitter. And they have this orgasmic meditation, or they do have it still, probably, I hope, like center where you learn about this healing art. And it's like a blend of Buddhist meditation kind of, as well as like getting in your yoni. So I personally have found it was traumatizing for me a little bit to try and do it with people I didn't feel safe with. So I've always done it with a lover that is someone that I'm really committed to. So in my case, I've done this most successfully with my husband over the last decade. And it's a deliberate, structured practice of focusing attention on the clitoris for a 15-minute cycle every day. I do it every day when we do our practice. It's like, okay, we're going to do it every day for 21 days or 7 days or something like that. But it could be just whenever you want to do it. But anyways, it's like a window of 15 minutes. Time flies. And sometimes it doesn't, depending on your mood. It's safe and it's consensual. And for me, the safety is I know you really well. For some people, they might be able to do it with a random stranger at a workshop or an event. But I feel for me, I don't have that level of trust in the universe. And I like to feel really safe with someone that is I could trust my life with them. So this practice is done where, like, say you are the beloved who's laying down. So you lay down and your partner one person has their finger and the other person is placing their finger on, so I'm not explaining this well. So in my mind, I'm laying down, my husband's placing his finger on me. My yoni is exposed. He is in a consensual, non-judgmental frequency, this super like letting me be heard. He's listening. He's totally seeing me as a goddess of love. And it's a moment to moment awareness practice of presence, of sensation, of connection, of emotionality, of psychic listening, if you're into the woo-woo like we are. And you're letting whatever needs to happen in those 15 minutes. But it's really simple. It's just one finger on the upper left-hand quadrant of the clitoris. And the benefits are you can increase sexual pleasure and orgasms, increase body awareness, self-confidence, decrease anxiety and stress, improve communication and intimacy in relationships, and enhance overall well-being. And you could sort of do this on your own, but it's a little bit tricky if you don't have a partner to like let you fully surrender. But there's a similar benefit when you're doing a self-love practice. It's just different. I just went to the wrong slide. This practice can also help women connect with their bodies and their sexuality in a more holistic and empowered way. But it's important to have super clear communication and consent, because it does not work if a woman is, or if one partner is a people pleaser and they're trying to shut down their emotions and feelings. So there's got to be a safety, a trust, and you've got to be at that level where you can say, I appreciate how much you're loving me up and I need more pressure here, or like, give me more pressure, please. I need this, I need that. So be slower, faster. And then that becomes a practice that you can use in your boudoir or even in your life. So these sacred sexual tools, oh my banana's sticking out. These sacred sexuality tools will invite women to reclaim their feminine power, become more fully embodied, and I hope that these tools will help you, as long as you incorporate them into your life. I'm sure you'll learn a lot. Maybe try out one or two this week and let me know what the transformation, the results are in your life. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Namaste.